and which kind of turned, he's an older brother, so it made me into an introvert. And I was always very lively and, among my friends, but outside of that,
James Garner, the legendary actor known for his unforgettable roles in Maverick and the Rockford Files, left behind more than just a legacy of film and television. His story includes deep sadness, strange turns, and a home that stood as a silent witness to it all. Today, we're looking closely at what happened to his home, the chaos that followed his death, and the hidden pieces of a life that was both full of love and full of pain. James Garner was not just a talented actor with a charming smile. He was one of the few stars in Hollywood who kept his private life peaceful and grounded. While others chased fame, Garner remained calm and down to earth. Those who knew him said he was humble, friendly, and not interested in showing off. He liked spending time at home more than attending parties or chasing attention. At the heart of that peaceful life was his marriage to Lois Josephine Fleischman Clarke. Their love story began in 1956 at a party where something just clicked. In just 16 days, they went from strangers to husband and wife. They had dinner together every night for 2 weeks, and on August 17, 1956, they got married. Garner later joked, "We ate out every night for 14 days. I was crazy about her. I spent $77 on the honeymoon, and it almost ruined me financially." That honest, simple style was typical of Garner. He didn't need flashy words or expensive gifts. His love was real and shown in the way he lived. Lois brought more than romance into Garner's life. She also had a young daughter from a previous marriage. The little girl was only 9 years old and recovering from polio. Garner didn't hesitate. He became a stepfather with kindness and care, building a deep connection with her. Later, James and Lois had a daughter of their own. Greta Gigi Garner was born on January 4th, 1958. She would grow up with love and respect for her father, not just as an actor, but as the steady hand at home. Garner often described marriage with a smile and a dose of truth. "Marriage is like the army. Everyone complains, but you'd be shocked at how many sign up again," he said once. And it's true. Their marriage was not always perfect. They faced problems just like anyone else. In 1970, they separated for 3 months. In 1979, they separated again, this time for a longer period. But through all the distance and stress, they never let go of each other. In September 1981, they found their way back. They stayed together from that moment until the end of Garner's life in 2014. Their marriage lasted nearly 60 years. Lois practiced Judaism and brought her beliefs into their home. Garner, though not religious himself, respected her views deeply. He believed in live and let love and let love. No matter how bright the lights of Hollywood got, Garner kept his family close. His roles in the Rockford Files, Maverick, and other films made him famous, but he refused to let fame control him. His friends often said that Hollywood never changed him. He didn't run after fame. It just found him. But his heart was always at home, with Lois and his children. James Garner's long marriage to Lois Clarke was strong, but it was tested many times, especially by the pressure of his work in Hollywood. He was honest about the damage that his acting career sometimes caused in his personal life. During their second separation in 1979, he spent time living in Canada and rented a house in the valley. But he always made it clear that their split was not because of anger or betrayal. It was the stress and emotional pressure that pushed him too far. At the center of that pressure was the Rockford Files. Garner was the soul of the show. He was in nearly every scene, carrying the series with his quiet strength and clever humor. But behind the camera, things were falling apart. His knees were badly damaged from years of physical stunts. He was in constant pain. The shooting schedule was brutal. On top of that, he clashed with the studio over demands that he felt were unfair. The stress became overwhelming. Garner said in interviews that he reached a breaking point. When he finally left the show in 1979, it was not because he hated the role or lost his love for acting. It was because his body and mind needed a break. He needed rest. He needed space. He needed silence. He said, "I had to be alone to recover." For a man as hardworking as Garner, stepping back was difficult, but it had to be done. During this time apart, he never spoke badly about Lois. He always made it clear that the separation was caused by the weight of his career, not by a lack of love or respect. In September 1981, Garner and Lois reunited again. Their relationship had survived the storm, and their bond grew even stronger. The lessons they had learned brought them closer. Garner kept acting throughout the 1980s and 1990s, but he moved at a slower pace. He had learned the cost of pushing too hard. His love for Lois never faded. He often said that she gave him balance. They shared a lifetime of laughter, trust, and quiet understanding. Though he stayed private, he never hid his deep respect for Lois. She stood by him through the best and worst times. She helped him survive in a world that often swallows people whole. Garner passed away on July 19, 2014, just weeks before their 58th anniversary. It was the end of a powerful love story. Lois lived 7 more years after his death. She passed on October 21st, 2021. Their story ended, but the bond they built stood firm even in silence. Garner was famous for his cool attitude on screen. He played tough guys, fast talkers, and heroes. But behind that charm was a man fighting constant pain. His body had suffered for his career. His knees were in terrible shape. During the filming of the Rockford Files, he did most of his own stunts. It caught up with him. He had 6 or 7 surgeries on his knees just to keep going. Even in pain, he never gave up. He kept acting. He kept smiling. He didn't complain. He focused on his work, even while hurting more than anyone knew. But the damage kept growing. In 2000, long after his TV stardom had faded, he had both knees replaced. The surgeries helped, but they were a clear sign of how much he had sacrificed for his roles. His health issues didn't end there. On April 22, 1988, he had a major heart surgery. He went through a quintuple bypass. It was dangerous, but he recovered quickly. Doctors warned him that he needed to quit smoking, a habit he had started as a child. But he kept smoking for 17 more years. It wasn't until 2005 that he finally stopped. His daughter Gigi said, "My dad had smoked since he was 12. Quitting was not easy, but he did it, showing the same quiet strength that had guided him through every challenge." Then in May 2008, disaster struck again. Garner had a serious stroke. On May 9th, he was rushed to surgery. 2 days later, on May 11th, doctors operated. It was a scary moment, but once again, he surprised everyone. His recovery was better than anyone expected. People called him a fighter. His will to live was stronger than the damage done to his body. Through arthritis, surgeries, smoking, and a life-threatening stroke, Garner stayed the same. Humble, kind, strong. He never let the pain change him. He kept his warmth. He kept his humor. And he kept his love for the people who mattered most. On the night of July 19th, 2014, Hollywood lost one of its most beloved stars. James Garner, the quiet hero who had won hearts for more than 50 years, was found unresponsive at his home in Brentwood, Los Angeles. Emergency teams arrived quickly, but it was too late. He had passed away at age 86. The cause was a heart attack caused by coronary artery disease. His death, though sudden, came after years of declining health following his stroke in 2008. The news hit hard. Fans who had grown up watching him as Brett Maverick or Jim Rockford felt like they had lost a friend. But for those who knew him personally, the loss cut even deeper. Garner was not just a talented actor. He was a humble, loyal, and deeply human man whose strength came from quiet dignity, not loud fame. His health had been fragile in his last years. After the stroke in 2008, he had surgery and made an impressive recovery, but the damage left a mark. He stopped appearing in public often. Instead, he spent his final years away from the spotlight, surrounded by family and peace. After a life lived in front of cameras, he chose stillness in the end. When word of his death spread, tributes poured in from across the world. Co-stars, friends, and fans remembered him not only for his talent, but for his kindness. Tom Selleck, who worked with him on the Rockford Files and called him a mentor, said, "Jim was a mentor to me and a friend, and I will miss him." His words captured what many in Hollywood felt. They hadn't just lost a star, they had lost someone rare. Sally Field, who starred opposite Garner and Murphy's romance, was heartbroken. The connection they shared on screen had come from real warmth behind the scenes. "My heart just broke," she said. "There are few people on this planet I adored as much as Jimmy Garner. I cherish every moment I spent with him and relive them over and over in my head. He was a diamond." Her words showed how deeply Garner had touched the lives of those who worked beside him. Even Clint Eastwood, another Hollywood legend, paid his respects. The two had started their careers at the same time, working together in early episodes of Maverick and later in Space Cowboys. Eastwood said, "Garner opened the door for people like Steve McQueen and myself. Garner had made it possible for a new kind of leading man to exist, one who was charming without being arrogant, tough without being cruel." At the time of his passing in 2014, James Garner had built a fortune estimated at $20 million. This wealth came from more than just acting. It was the result of smart business choices and a strong sense of fairness. Garner was careful with his career. He did not just take roles, he built a legacy. While many actors only earned money from acting, Garner took a different path. He understood how Hollywood worked. He knew how to read contracts, build partnerships, and fight for what he deserved. His success came from hard work and smart decisions. He avoided the wasteful habits that ruined others. He lived with modesty and purpose. The backbone of his wealth was his acting career. He first became famous in the 1950s as Brett Maverick. His charm, wit, and down-to-earth nature made him a favorite. Later, he starred in films like The Great Escape, The Americanization of Emily, and Support Your Local Sheriff. Then came The Rockford Files, which made him a television icon. The role earned him an Emmy and was one of the projects he co-produced, allowing him to earn not just as an actor, but as a businessman. Garner stayed relevant even in his later years. In Murphy's Romance, he earned an Oscar nomination. In The Notebook, he played the older version of Ryan Gosling's character. Audiences loved him in every role. He had a unique way of making characters feel real. Beyond acting, Garner made money in other ways. His friendly voice and honest look made him perfect for commercials. In the 1980s and 1990s, he was the face of Mazda. He also narrated many television specials, adding to his income. These side ventures helped him stay in the spotlight and keep his earnings steady. But one of his smartest moves was starting Cherokee Productions. With this company, Garner helped create many of the shows he starred in. This gave him more control and more profit. Few actors at that time had that kind of power. He was thinking ahead. He knew ownership was key in a business where actors could easily be left behind. He also stood up for his rights. In the 1980s, he sued Universal Studios over unpaid profits from the Rockford files. The case took years, but he won. It was a major victory. He earned millions and helped other actors see that it was possible to fight back. Even with all this success, Garner lived simply. He didn't show off his wealth. He invested wisely, including in real estate. His homes in Brentwood and the Santa Ynez Valley grew in value over the years. His money was earned through patience, hard work, and careful planning. Now let's look at the places James Garner called home. In 1966, while his fame was at its peak from Maverick and The Great Escape, Garner decided to create a special place for his family. He didn't want a flashy mansion. He wanted a calm space that felt real. So he hired famous California architects Conrad Buff and Donald Hensman. These two were known for their clean, modern designs that brought the outside in. Garner asked them to build a house in Brentwood, one of Los Angeles' quietest and most private neighborhoods. The result was a peaceful, modern home that became his safe haven for nearly 50 years. Surrounded by trees and built on almost 1 acre of land, the house was over 4,300 square feet. It had 3 big bedrooms and 5 bathrooms. Floor-to-ceiling windows let sunlight pour in and gave beautiful views of the gardens. The home was full of light, open space, and quiet beauty. It was perfect for relaxing after long days on set. It had a backyard for family nights, shaded patios, and the kind of privacy Garner valued deeply. This was not a showy house with gold gates or fountains. It reflected Garner himself, simple, elegant, and strong. A man who could afford anything but chose peace. The house became more than a home. It was where memories were made, laughter was shared, pain was endured, and love, quiet and steady, filled every corner. Garner lived there until his final days in 2014. After his death, the home stayed in the family for a few years. Then in March 2020, it was sold quietly for $10 million. The off-market sale matched Garner's private nature. No big announcement. Just a quiet goodbye to a place filled with history. But that was not the only home Garner loved. In the 1990s, as he slowed down and looked for more peace, he bought another property. This time, it was far from Los Angeles, in California's Santa Ynez Valley. This area is known for rolling hills, vineyards, and quiet roads. Garner found a 400-acre piece of land and saw it as the perfect escape. He wanted more than just a weekend getaway. He wanted a retreat where he could breathe. So he brought in architect Hugh Newell Jacobson, a master of modern design. Jacobson built a stunning 8,000 square foot home that looked like a small modern village. Its sharp roof lines and glass walls allowed Garner to watch the sunset or enjoy the hills from every room. The house was open, calm, and bright. Every detail was made for comfort and quiet. The land wasn't just pretty, it was alive. There were vineyards, oak trees, and long stretches of untouched beauty. It gave Garner a place to enjoy nature, drive through the countryside, and spend time away from fame. Whether he was hosting friends or sitting on the patio in silence, this ranch gave him peace. Eventually, he chose to let it go. In 2000, he sold the property for $8.75 million. The estate was unique, beautiful, and perfectly located. It was more than land. It was a chapter of his life, built with care and filled with meaning. Like his Brentwood home, it wasn't loud or flashy. It was graceful and private. Just like him. Everything about Garner's homes told a story. They were strong, thoughtful, and peaceful, just like the man who lived in them. What do you think about James Garner? Leave your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.